Hello students, I am Swati Desai, Department of English, Deccan Education Society's Fergusson College, Pune. Today we are going to learn 1.6 Into the Wild, in which there are two parts. Part 1 is Lost in the Jungle by Kiran Purandare, and part 2 is about Shaz Jung, who is a wildlife photographer. So today in this lecture we'll learn part 1, Lost in the Jungle by Kiran Purandare. Hello students. So we'll start 1.6 Into the Wild, part 1, Lost in the Jungle by Kiran Purandare. Here in this text, the writer has narrated one of the incidences of his life when he was lost in jungle. How confident he was, though he was scared. So let's start part 1, Lost in the Jungle by Kiran Purandare. Here, the writer has narrated one incident of his life when he was lost in jungle. And of course, he was scared, but he was confident. And finally, let's solve icebreakers. First question is, narrate in your class any of the incidents of your life when you were extremely terrified or awestruck. Here, you can write any of the incidents, right? When you are scared, terrified, frightened. And the second question is, complete the given table regarding the factors, situations, reasons, why you sometimes get scared and the factors that add to it. Give possible solutions. Students, there are many situations come in our life when we get frightened, when we get scared, and we feel that there is no solution for my problem. But it doesn't happen. There is always solution for problem. And so you have to be confident. Keep walking. You will get the solution. So here they have given one table to us. The headings are reasons, factors which add to it, and solutions. While discussing about strange creatures, we get scared. And there are some factors that add to it. Maybe at midnight or in the absence of our parents. Then what can be the solution for the same? Avoid such kind of discussions or stories as they are baseless. Right? This can be the solution. Now, I can tell you the second situation when we get scared. Suppose you are traveling by a bus at late evening and you don't have your own parents, relatives or friends with you. But there must be a few fellow passengers. Then suddenly tire of your bus gets punctured. It can be a factor that add to our fear. Then what can be the solution? Instead of getting upset, nervous, what you can do? You can talk to your fellow passengers. You can discuss with them the possible solutions for reaching the destination, right? And third blank, you can feel on your own. He's a writer, Kiran Purandare. He was born in 1961. After BCom, he studied environmental studies at Jordan Hill College of Education in Scotland. He is a recipient of the Sahitya Puraskar, Pune's Bhai Madhav Bagal Award, Best Literature Award given by Cultural Department of Maharashtra State for his Sakha Nagjira book. He spent 400 days inside Nagjira and nearby forest areas and wrote this award-winning book. This excerpt has been taken from the same book, that is Sakha Nagjira. He is a wildlife expert, a bird watcher, a writer, and honorary wildlife warden in Maharashtra. Honorary means a person who doesn't take any remuneration for the work he does for the society. He is also the founder of Nisargaved organization, which works for nature conservation and community work around Nagjira. Navega, a tiger reserve in Bhandara and Gondia districts. He also founded Kika's Bird Club in order to spread bird farming, which is very popular among school-going children of Maharashtra. Now, Kika is a short form of Kiran Kaka. Kiran is a writer and children call him Kaka. So, Kika for Kiran Kaka. Okay, so Kika's Bird Club. Mr. and Mrs. Purandare. And there are a few children who stay in forest. How both of them are spending quality time with these children. And if you see expressions on their faces, they are very happy. When someone does selfless activity, he tries to give happiness to others, definitely he gets such kind of happiness. And we are very much fortunate children for having such kind of people among us. This is first paragraph of our text. As the name suggests, the excerpt is an amazing experience of the writer where Kiran Purandare, the solitary traveler, solitary means who travels alone, is completely lost in the jungles of Umbarzara. He narrates how he lost his way at the fall of the dusk, means at late evening, and the terrifying turmoil he underwent thereafter. Shouting for help would literally mean crying in the wilderness. He also gives a detailed description of how he found his way towards the Pitazari. He was traveling alone and maybe late evening he lost his way. Okay, so now what happened next? Let's learn. See, this is a pond and a green structure you can see here that is called hide. Okay, what is it? Let's see. A place built to look like its surrounding. And you can see the writer, he's watching those birds and animals who come to drink water on that pond through that hole. Okay, see, this is the water of that pond, very clear. Animals and birds, they like such kind of clear water. Now, what the writer tells us, the 8.5-hour long day inside the hide was as fruitful as the Zamba tree standing tall on the edge of Umbarzara. Before wrapping up my day at this natural water hole, I took entries of the avifauna in my field notes. Since I was alone, I rushed to the Pitazari village where I was stationed. I camouflaged the hide, took my essentials, came out of the hide, and stretched out to my heart's content. I lifted my camera bag and took the familiar trail to Pitazari. What the writer was doing here, he was watching birds and he was making entries of the avifauna. Avifauna means birds of a particular region, habitat or geological period. So he made all those entries in his field notes and he started walking towards Pitazari. Negotiating the webbed leaves of teak wood and moha trees, trying to make minimal sound, I was treading cautiously among the woods. Walking alone in a jungle needs more alertness than walking with a companion. I was alone here, like a fox, following the trail silently, watching with wide open eyes. My ears were grasping a variety of sounds just when a familiar sound stunned me. Okay, he was very much alert as he was all alone in the jungle. And suddenly, he heard some kind of sound. And what he is saying, it was familiar sound. As a writer, he has thorough knowledge of jungles, wildlife. He knew many sounds. So he said that familiar sound stunned me. Here in this paragraph, there is one phrase, I was all alone here like a fox. Means actually, was he alone? He wasn't alone. Though he couldn't see those wild animals, they were present somewhere in the jungle. What kind of sound it was then? It was a langur alarm call. The leader of the gang of langurs was sitting on the tall tree making alarm calls out of fear for life. Rest of the langur brigade continued raising the alarm calls. The network of alarm calls was expanding its range as the petrified langurs speeded to the trees near and far and secured their places on treetops. Now, a writer, actually, as he knows different kinds of sounds made by animals when they are frightened, when they are happy, but now he could guess that something was wrong there. Okay, so what was wrong? All this upheaval was created by only one animal's presence, a leopard. Many animals make alarm calls when they see a predator, tiger or leopard nearby. The langur is most reliable when it comes to finding clues about the presence of the apex predators in the jungle. Now, what the writer tells us, that all this upheaval means a violent or sudden change, was created by only one animal's presence, that is a leopard. He was a predator. Predator means an animal that hunts, kills and eats other animals. And apex, that is topmost. So definitely that predator was present that time nearby in the jungle. And that's why all those langurs were disturbed and they're making others aware that yes, there is leopard somewhere. The mighty elusive leopard of Ambarzara was out of its lair. Elusive, that is rarely seen. He was on the prowl. The stealthily moving figure in spotted gold black cloak was spied by these langurs. Even the small ones from the legion of langurs were giving alarm calls. See, all those langurs, they're making each other aware about the presence of leopard nearby. Petrified means very frightened. Stealthily, that is secretly, and cloak, that is outer garment or skin. I stayed put, gauged the leader langur's target site, and scanned the area visually. The writer decided not to move. And he started scanning the area visually. He took some steps, stopped again. Means he was very much aware, he was alert. A fresh scat was lying before me on the trail. Scat means animal droppings. The bluish purple flies were hovering over it. Hovering means floating or lingering. I was sure that the leopard was somewhere near. The distant alarm call of four-horned antelope was adding to the chaos. Four-horned antelope, that is a mammal animal, means here you can take meaning as kalvit in Marathi. I had apparently entered in the sanctum sanctorum of a miracle called leopard. Actually, in the area of leopard. Meaning of sanctum sanctorum has been given in your textbook as well. A place, a region where few are allowed as a secret or important work is done there. But here we can say that area of that leopard. But the big cat was not visible. It is an elusive animal. Elusive means rarely seen. The surroundings were reminding me that I was all alone time and again. As I moved forward on the trail to Pitezari, the fading alarm calls were still heard in the background. I could tell instinctively that the leopard had moved away. Means, children, the writer, he was very much confident, though he was scared, he was taking utmost care. He started walking. He continued walking. And finally, he was safe and sound. As he is saying that I could tell instinctively that the leopard had moved away. Here you can see a few pictures of wild animals. Sloth bear, tiger, leopard. As all these animals were present somewhere in that jungle and writer was all alone. But suddenly he saw a man with stick there. Meanwhile, I saw a man standing at a distance with a stick in his hand. As I approached, he appeared spooked due to the alarm calls of the leopard. We greeted each other. He was Raju escaped from Pitezari. He had come to collect logs but retreated due to the leopard's movement. Raju was amazed at my regular solitary visits to Umbarzara, the heaven for tigers, leopards, and sloth bears. Then, when he found that person, they greeted each other and he came to know that he was Raju escaped from Pitezari. As he also used to come sometimes to collect logs in the jungle, he had knowledge of wildlife, wild animals, those sounds. So he was also scared that somewhere there must be a leopard. And when he found that a writer visits alone to Umbarzara jungle, he was amazed, he was surprised, as in that jungle there were tigers, leopards, and sloth bears. Here, in the margin, we have been told to find out the meaning of spooked. You can easily tell here meaning of spooked is frightened. We stopped under a kusum tree to take a break. We both felt a bit relaxed. Now, we were 4 eyes, 4 hands with a stick. Then we both resumed our walking tour. There was one tiny track that broke out of the main trail. I will take this route. You go straight, said Raju, and turned right. I kept walking straight until I climbed a familiar hillock. I crossed the cement pillar and stones stacked by Forest Development Corporation to mark the boundary of the forest compartment. When both of them, they decided to start their walking tour, Raju told him that you can go straight and I am taking this route. So he went by another route and till this moment everything was fine, I think. But then what happened when writer crossed the cement pillar, something went wrong. Took another trail after climbing down, walked across a beautiful maua tree loaded with reddish brown leaves. When the writer took that another trail, what happened? When he crossed that boundary, he found a maua tree. Somewhere he started feeling that he had lost his way. So, hastily, I took that trail which took me from a narrow gorge to an open field. Gorge means a narrow gully between hillocks, and dusky, that is dimly lit, as it was late evening. The area was surrounded by hillocks of dry deciduous tropical forest. I turned back to spot the sun. Now the geographical west was set. The dusky trail had vanished. Good heavens, I was lost, completely lost in this jungle, that too at a very dreadful time. The sun was melting down like a fleeting runner. When he saw the sunset, he could understand that this is west. And so at least he knew that this is west. So now I have to find my way again. But completely lost in this jungle, that too at a very dreadful time. It was late evening and sun was melting down like a fleeting runner. So he was a bit frightened. Soaked in my own sweat, I felt like shouting to my heart's content. But there was no other soul to listen to my sound in this wilderness. I had two bags with me. The Shabnam bag, having the camera, and the other was a small colorful handmade bag used in villages to carry tiffin. The tiffin still had some stuff, but I didn't feel like having it. The blossoming boxwood trees, the boop boop sound of the cuckoo bird, the song of robin bird all appeared alien to me, as he was frightened. And though there was food with him, he wasn't in that mentality to have anything, because he was trying to find out route, correct way to his home, his village. And all those birds and all, he was feeling that everything is alien. Alien means unknown to him, something new. It was more than an hour, and I was still there, searching for a suitable tree to climb and get secured. Turn back to the trail you left, my mind was telling me, but there were no signs of the trail. I had no other way to climb the hillock before me. There were more hillocks and some more around the one I was standing. Near my feet were the dried up droppings of sloth bear. The sloth bear of Umbarzara must be out in open sniffing for food. I cautioned myself, thinking of averting all sorts of eventuality. I made a move. Now what happened? When we are frightened, we just start thinking what to do. And in the same way, the writer, once he thought that I should climb and get secured, then he thought I should turn back to the trail I left, and he turned back, but he couldn't find that trail again. Then there were more hillocks, so he decided to climb one hillock. Near my feet were dried up droppings of sloth bear. Again he was frightened, but finally he decided that he is not going to think in a negative manner. He decided to avoid all sorts of negative thoughts, eventualities. He started walking, means he decided not to think in a negative manner and just continue walking. I ran down the hillock that I had climbed up at a frantic speed. The waist was to my right hand side now. The evening breeze flew through my wet curled hair. My stomach was aching. I kept walking in hope. After around 50 steps, I found a bright red soil trail. I found my silver lining on this trail. There were marks of bicycle wheel on this trail. That was a big consolation for me. There must be a village nearby. I reassured myself. More questions resurfaced. How far is the village? And where? In which direction? Now, what happened? The writer finally found marks of bicycle wheel on the trail. Somewhere there must be human civilization. Okay, and so he's saying, I found my silver lining on this trail. Silver lining means sign of hope or a positive aspect in an otherwise negative situation. When he couldn't find his way, but finally when he saw those marks of bicycle wheel on the trail, he became happy. There must be a village nearby. He felt like that. I climbed one more hillock and tried to locate signs of human civilization. My legs were trembling. As I reached the top of the hill, I jumped with joy. I heard the sounds of people talking in the loudspeaker. In a jiffy, I ran down the hill. I heard the sounds of people talking in the loudspeaker. In a jiffy, I ran down the hill towards the sound with full vigor. Now he was very much happy as he could find signs of human civilization. Frantic, that is, things are done quickly, but disorganized way because there is a little time. In a jiffy, that is, quickly. I stumbled and fell down, saw droppings of blue bulls nearby, struggled, stood up, and decided which direction to move on. The signs of civilization were visible. The tiny sleepy village of Pitezari was visible through the green woods. The lantern of Rajaram Balvi's farm, the loudspeaker installed for Keshav Balvi's marriage, all were in clear sight. Turned left to spot the village lake and familiar hillock, Sivudaki. The dog barked to welcome me to the village. The first thing I did was to take a bath. The shaking of limbs had lessened a bit. The stomachache started again, ate to the full, and then slumped onto the cot. See the writer's feelings after finding his way. And he knew all those people. He knew the occasions for what the loudspeaker was installed. Means it was his own village. Finally, he reached his village. Lying awake, looking at the star-studded sky, I spoke to myself. There still exists a jungle where we can get lost. Isn't this our good luck? See, children, this is a beautiful message given by the writer to us. There still exists a jungle where we can get lost. Isn't this a beautiful message? Means we are supposed to take care of our jungles. We are supposed to take care of wildlife. We are supposed to conserve nature. Taken from Sakhanak Jira by Kiran Purandare. Slumped, that is, fell heavily. On our birthday, we can decide to plant one tree. Isn't this a good idea, children? We should take care of that plant. And on next birthday, we should plant one more tree. So in this way, we can conserve nature. On our birthday, we should plant one tree. We should take care of that plant throughout the year. And again, for our next birthday, we should plant one more tree. And in this way, we should conserve the nature. So students, these are a few change the voice sentences given in your textbook. Begin the following sentences with the words given in the brackets. First sentence is, I can guide visitors. This is, of course, active voice sentence. Why? Because the structure of the sentence is subject, verb, and object. SVO pattern. I is subject. Can is auxiliary, that is modal auxiliary given here. Guide, main verb, and visitors is object or remaining part of the sentence. So, your answer will be visitors can be guided by me. Visitors can be guided by me because structure of passive sentence is object, then verb, and then subject. And structure of active voice can be subject, verb, and object. And sometimes there is some remaining part of the sentence is also there. But here the structure is subject, verb, object. And our answer will be visitors can be guided by me. Okay, now the second sentence is animals are paying me back. This is present continuous tense. So the answer will be I am being paid back by the animals. It will be a answer, right? I am being paid back by the animals. Means again we have changed active sentence into passive voice sentence. Okay? Because the second sentence is active voice and we have changed it into passive voice. Now third sentence is behavior of the first Black Panther is being documented. The behavior of the first Black Panther is being documented. So this is passive voice sentence. Okay, the original sentence is in passive voice and we are supposed to make it active. Okay, so the answer will be they are documenting the behavior of the first Black Panther, because it is again present continuous tense. They are documenting the behavior of the first Black Panther. Last sentence is, all the research on the animal has been done through camera traps. This is again passive voice sentence and we are supposed to make it active. So our answer will be, they have done all the research on the animal through camera traps. They have done all the research on the animal through camera traps. It will be your answer. First two sentences are in active voice and we have changed them into passive voice. And the last two sentences are in passive voice and we have changed them into active voice. There are other sentences as well in the textbook. You are supposed to solve them in your notebook. Hello students. So today we learned 1.6 Into the Wild Part 1, Lost in the Jungle by Kiran Purandare. He was lost in jungle, but he was confident enough to find the way. Though he was scared, he kept walking and finally he found his way. So many situations in our life come when we feel that there is no solution for the problem, but it doesn't happen. You should be confident enough to find the solution because every problem has solution. Thank you.